So for me, it's like I guess it's just time for the great reset. Um, Reap, crop, close plantation for me over the last few years has been quite literally the most potent phrase that could be spoken in crypto, and I got that from CG. He was talking about his, he titled one of his videos because he was farming and he was reaping his crop and closing that plantation and making a new one, So an adaptation of that is reap, crop, start new plantation, And a long time ago, God bless him, because before I get into really what I want to talk about, CG is retired from crypto now. And that was kind of blew me away, you know what I mean? He said he had a few last Centurions or Zen Mints coming out, and then that was it. He's out, and it's like a 10-year journey for him. And for what it's worth, if I've impacted you in any kind of way, good or bad, ideally in a good way, I like to just give him the credit, because I wouldn't be in crypto if it wasn't for him, I'm sure at some point I would have, but it doesn't matter. My appearance when I came, was because of me being inspired by some of his content and, watching him and everything. And God bless him for that, because crypto's played an interesting role in my life, and I think, like most people, it's had its ups and downs, and hopefully it's done more good than harm, you know what I mean? It's just really rough to see that kind of happen with him. But I think he's on to something, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people from my era feel like that. Like, they could feel it. Like, it's like, yeah, this shit is cool, but it's like, it's not everything. Like, 10 years ago, it felt like it could be everything. And it kind of got me off the path that I was on. But for most people, I think there's like a universal truth that if you get lost, you can go back to the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And I thought I was doing that, very recently with certain things. And I really have, in a way. But I got away from the things that made me very comfortable in my life. Trading being one of the primary things that I used to do before crypto was even around, and I say, I've totally been lost on that. And a really good friend of mine that I didn't know was a great friend of mine really gave me an opportunity to really embrace that new beginning again. And I fucked that all the way up. And it's one of the most frustrating things to deal with today. I said some moments a while ago, and they keep coming to pass, And I'll say it like this. The first omen was, if I don't walk with my kids on Halloween to go trick-or-treating, something's wrong. You know what I mean? The second was, if I don't celebrate my Thanksgiving in a comfortable way, then something's wrong. And both of those things came to pass. Did I celebrate the day? Yeah. Not in the way I wanted to. No, I was, slaving away, we'll call it, and that's cool. I'm grateful for that, and to be able to do that. There's a lot of people, they don't even have that. It's not a negative video. It's like, I don't want to really express negative emotions or even commentary, but I do want to keep it real, Those two omens came and passed, and I'm like, fuck, and there's a third one, and I ain't gonna talk about it, but it sure does look like it's gonna go the way I thought, and I wish this fucking shit would stop. blinging the whole time I'm recording. But this is a serious time for me. And like I said, one of my friends gave me an absolute opportunity about more than a year ago to just really fully embrace, immerse myself back into the thing that kind of where I started, even after crypto. I had a nice trading Discord, and I was really going on that. I was paid membership, superstars there, regular people there. And if I was charging zero point 0.1 BTC when BTC was like $1,000 or $2,000. And if I'd have had all that BTC, I'd have a couple Bitcoin right now. But to me, it just seemed relative at the time, I just used it, and that's fine. Hindsight being 2020, mistake? I don't know. The real mistake was getting off the path that I was on. It was easy to spend the BTC. I don't care. I earned from trading, and that was easy, and I got enamored with this idea that crypto was going to be this really life-changing thing, and it has. I'd say it's been net negative for me. Has it come in handy and saved my ass and all that? Yes. And I think the real value is the friends that I've made along the way. You know what I'm saying? The people that I've drawn inspiration from, the people I've come to know, whether we're friends or friendly or whatever. Lots of good experiences and bad ones, and it's fine, it's all good. It's all relative. But like Craig, through his crypto journey, he's found himself back at home where he started, and he's restored his childhood home, and he's living a very easy, happy life, one that looks very attractive, and that's the great reset for me. A little while ago, I saw a crib that was relatively close to where I felt comfortable being, and it was about $8,000, totally livable too. And I thought about Craig at the time, and Craig Grant at the time, and I thought, damn, I'm supposed to get that, and I hope that it seemed like something was coming that was going to allow me to just do that very comfortably, because of course, the reason that place is so inexpensive is because you kind of need to be self-sustainable out there, in order to afford it. But I consider this a great tragic mistake for me to have not bought it and occupied it, because my life would be so much simpler right now. And I think I'm starting to understand the value of having a simple life. Chasing the wind is fun. Excuse me. Chasing profit is fun. Holding on to hopium is not. And I've seen too many cases of that just go left. And I think it feels like it's the right decision to make. And the funny thing is, I was mentioning this in a telegram, and some dude was like, maybe you should too, meaning retire from crypto. And he was he's a little snotty ass little kid, whatever, who cares? But the point is, it's like, bro, you're way behind the program, you know what I'm saying? And but whatever, I was just like, you don't know how right you are. I've been telling myself this for a while. Reap crop, close plantation, because that's what this shit is. And most people don't realize it. Once you get involved in hopium and hopium-based activities, you become a slave or a shill or a slave to that thing you're holding on that you think is going to change your life. And it's the shit is really diabolical. Furthermore, going back to a friend valued me enough to give me that fair shake at hey man, you don't have to do this anymore, do this, and it's a great tragedy that I fucking miserably failed that fucking that task. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because my I was being double-minded, and I'm generally not like that. You know, don't look backwards. You know, it's like that when Sarah and Lot, you know, we're coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah, and said, "Don't look back. You're gonna turn into a pillar of salt." I don't, you know, like that's some like real shit. Like that's what that story is about. Like, don't look back, man. Like, go your way in peace. You know what I'm saying? You get rescued from a terrible situation in a terrible town and all this type of shit. And how dare you look backwards? And I did that, and I'm paying for it greatly, both physically, emotionally, all these types of things. And this is just me being real. Like, I fucked that all the way up. And you know, you never know when that realization is gonna come of like damn, I really wish I didn't fuck that up. But all things being said and done, everything happens for a reason, and I think it's to like make me examine my position in my situation and really decide for sure now. You know, like I was so curious to look backwards, and I really thought I was doing the right thing and trying to follow the right path, and you know, it's proven to make a fool of me. And like I said, I'm paying for it. Like, you're free to test the universe, but if you aligned, everything that's hard becomes easy. You know, the thing that I thought, the opportunity I never thought I could have, fell into my lap literally because of the great people that I've come to know and a great person I've come to know who's just, you know, that kind of person that's gonna pull your ass out the water, like, just by their nature. I used to think it was because I was special, and maybe I am to that person or was to that person. I know I am, you know what I mean? But man, what a you know, what a blessing to have people that view you in the light, to think that you're worth saving. You know what I'm saying? And I did the dickhead thing and looked backwards and thought that I should do anything but that. And you know, so this is my message for those, like, don't look backwards, man. Reap crop, close plantation, bro. Like, you gotta focus on real things, man. And because this hopium shit will fuck you up, man. You know, that FOMO will fuck you up. The fear of missing out on crypto and all this. And if crypto is everything it should be, then everybody would be where they're supposed to be. But, you know, I'm seeing people, the people who are the most vigorous and like crazy about, like, vocally and chats and stuff like that, less than $2,000 in crypto. Like, you know, what the fuck you so emotional about this shit for? You're ready to fight, dox, threat, steal, you know, axe murder, argue for hours over a punk ass amount of crypto. Like, and it's like, man, y'all niggas are crazy, bro. Like, this shit is driving people insane. You know what I mean? And I think, like, I just need to pull myself and get grounded back into a reality that I'm familiar with, that I'm fully capable of embracing, and you know, come back to my roots, go back to the beginning. And then I think all the things that are bothering me now will go away. I know they will. I don't really see a different way for me to sustain myself in a more happy way. I know, because I was happy the whole time I was doing trading and stuff like that, and I just took myself away from it. Maybe I lost my nerve or stuff like that, and that's, I'm like, yo, like, I've taken a tiny amount of money and turned it into a butt fuck ton of money, you know? And that's the problem with, like, a lot of this crypto shit. Like, if someone can convince you, if someone, say, like Richard Hart, can convince you that shit's the devil and evil and all this, then he can get you to give him all his money, you and many other people, several times, and you still be sitting there looking stupid 5 years later. It's fucking nuts, you know? And this is the, and I said this, you know, I made a mistake. I said this when I sacrificed for Post Chain, and I hoped other people listened. I said, you know, if this ain't it, this is it. And you know, I don't think that's what triggered Craig, but I know he's aware of my content at the time, and I said, you know, if Ricky ain't the guy, bro, there is no guy, and there's no guy coming. Like, it's all just bullshit, and it's all going to continue to be bullshit. The guy who presents himself like Jack, yeah, he full of shit too. And he'll point at Ricky and say he's a bullshit motherfucker, but he's a bullshit motherfucker too. And even me, I'm getting off the gray. People keep asking, yo, where's Saint? Where's Saint? Yo, the nigga's dead. You see what I'm saying? I'm definitely not a dark presence. I'm definitely not an evil presence. But I don't feel like my clothes are as clean as they need to be. I don't feel like they shining white like they did when I first arrived or appeared, where I helped a lot of people save a lot of money and avoid getting wrecked and all that type of shit. That was a full-time job, but I did it recreationally because my life was comfortable. I don't have time for that shit right now. Like, here's me doing it now one last time. Just forget about this shit. All of it. Because it's going to drive you insane and mad when there's too many tangible things out here that's going to help you for real. And not in a way that's like, oh, you here you are, you just burned 5 years. You ever have that exercise in school where they tell you, like, hey, I want you to write down, where do you think you'll be in 5 years? 5 years ago, when Pulse Chain Sacrifice was live, did you think you'd be having a conversation about Pulse Chain being 80, 90, 100% off stack, hex down 99.99999%, the combined hex down 99%, you know, everything down, like everything you put all your hopium in for 5 fucking years, and then have the guy who did that say, hey, nigga, give me some more. That's wild. And people be totally down and cool with it and give them millions and millions and more dollars. I say, you know what? If this is the prevailing mindset of people, you know, then like I'm in the wrong fucking place. Unless I want to be like that guy. Then I'm in the right place. Bunch of stupid motherfuckers willing to part ways with whatever's in their pocket on a hope and a dream. And I'm not, like, for what? I would rather help someone learn how to trade and give themselves a real chance at a future. One where I see the people that, not just like some person I look up to, but someone that I came up in this crypto YouTube shit with, living fully successful, fully capable of sustaining himself, and he's outgrown crypto. And he's ready to move on from it too. And it's like, really, bro? Like, yeah, you know what? It's a universal theme. And Craig put out a tweet the other day. It was like, you know, being one, all else is hive mind. And I'm seeing this more and more and more. The prevailing trending mindset of people who are from that era that we're from all have the same understanding. We're the OGs. There's a lot of people gonna hang on for clout or for hopium or whatever, but we all know it's time. You know, like, and it's not because like crypto's bad. It's just the way it's being exploited and the way it's going to affect you and others around you. You know, like, you may do well, someone else may not. Motherfuckers want your head because of that. Like, it's not even worth it. The peak of this game is jail, trouble, bullshit. You know, like, I don't got time for that, man. You live a nice, comfortable life. At some point, there needs to be an end of the wanting, and I'm going back to my roots because I've understood that this year the lesson was don't look backwards, because I looked backwards and I wanted to do things that I've been kind of bred into my mindset of doing. I threw away a perfect opportunity to not want or need for anything, for my children to not want or need for anything. And, you know, being me, being someone who blew that opportunity, I don't expect to have it again so easily. But by God, like, I'm telling you, like, I do what I gotta do, and I've seen firsthand that this is the best way for me to take care of myself and my family. And fuck this crypto shit. And that's just keeping it real. And that's where I'm at with it. Merry Christmas. And I told you, it's the fundamental change that I told you was gonna happen. And I needed just a little bit more push from life to, like, really get it. I'm out.